Ari, this is Stephen Hawkman 27 by Jason Byrne, and unfortunately there are some Draculas in it, and Draculas, they scare me. They are the most terrifying thing in all the world. And look, poor Hawkman girl, she has become one. She has become a Dracula. It's scary. It's like goosey bumps, this. And to start off, I have actually got a confession to make. It turns out I was completely wrong about the Stephen Hawkman reincarnation idea. I've been saying that was a new idea from the current run on the book, but it wasn't even from the current book. Apparently, it has been canon for quite a while that he has reincarnated loads. I always knew that he was meant to have been reincarnated from an Egyptian Oreo, but I didn't know there were other ones. Like, there he is when he was a cowboy, and there he is when he was a knight, and there he is when he was Stephen Hawkman. We all know that one, not impressive, that one. But I do think that the aspect of the idea that I like does come from the current book by Robert Van Duchy. The idea that all the different iterations of Stephen Hawkman from over the years, with their contrary backstories and origins, they are all the same character and just reincarnated, sometimes concurrently and existing at the same time. I think that one comes from the new series, and that is the only bit I really like about the whole reincarnation idea, that it lets every version of Stephen Hawkman count. I hate everything else about that new series, which is definitely gonna be cancelled very, very, very soon. I see people praising it on the Twitter, and it annoys us. It's awful. It has completely broken the character. Stephen Hawkman, this guy here, classic character. Well, now he has killed more people than the Jokers and Darkseid and everyone else combined. He has slaughtered planets and planets and more planets. It's impossible to ever look at the character the same way. Why do people like that shitty Robert Van Duchy series? The Stephen Hawkman book, it's terrible. They've made this character, this one right here, this classic character, one of, no, arguably the best thinker of the 20th century, Stephen Hawkman. They have made him, they have taken this character that loads of people like and loads of writers have already written well, and they have taken him and made it so that he is, and always has been, the worst killer in all of existence. It's just stupid, selfish shit. What's worse though, awful comics or Draculas? That's the big question. Oh God, what if Robert Van Duchy is a Dracula? Right, I think now we should officially boycott the current Stephen Hawkman book, cause it's awful, it's selfish, it's not fun, and it is written by an actual Dracula. Burn every issue of Stephen Hawkman. Hashtag boycott Dracula writer. Look, there's some weapons there. So if you like your boy Zach, aka Richard P. Meyer, i.e. diversities in comics, except they renamed it thing about comics, except it's not called that anymore. It's called Comics Matter because comics matter. If you're like him and you get a bonk on looking at weapons, well, there is loads of them there. And Hawkman Girl, well, she's not well because, well, this story, it's alright, but it goes an odd route of having it told a bit out of sequence. And there's no wrong with that, but it's completely pointless here. It doesn't really add anything, and it just makes following the story a bit annoying. The idea is that Stephen Hawkman, he is hunting a Dracula, and he knows him from some of his previous lives. And that's one of the reasons Draculas are scary, because they live forever. They are immortal. They stay young and pretty like in Twilight, while you grow hard, and when you get hard, then you're too hard to fight the Draculas off. Really scary. And look at all them bodies there. That's a lot of bodies. Nasty Draculas, aren't they? Keep in mind though, Stephen Hawkman here, canonically, now he has perpetrated greater amounts of slaughter than this. He is worse than an actual Dracula. So Hawkman Girl, she gets her blood sucked off by a Dracula, and that is scary because that is what they do. They just eat up your neck and suck off your bloods. It's horrible. So now Stephen Hawkman, he has to fight the Dracula, and it feels like a story that would be better told over 2 issues. But it feels very compressed in order to fit it into 1 issue. It feels like a story that maybe should play out a bit more rather than resolving it in the 22 pages. And as I said, he knows his Dracula from his past lives, when he was a knight in the Crusades from Indiana Jones 3. This came out when most people hated Jason Byrne, or at least when they had completely gone off him. Most people went off him somewhere in the mid-90s. Honestly though, I never really went off him. There's stuff that I didn't like, and some of that definitely is in the mid-90s or after, but I would still consider him to be a name worth checking out. I think this might be some of Jason Byrne's last work for the big 2. This and Blood of the Gargoyle. I might review that one soon. It was a series he did. This was in 2005, I think. He did a few little bits and bobs since this, but this is like his last major work on an ongoing basis. So Stephen Hawkman, he fights the Dracula, and thankfully he kills the Dracula, and Hawkman Girl is just cured, which is quite a quick turnaround and feels a bit unresolved, and kind of makes the whole subplot arguably pointless. I never really did all that much with Hawkman Girl getting sucked off by a Dracula, and they just quickly resolved it. All it really did was give Stephen Hawkman a bit of motivation for the issue, but he already had that motivation because the Dracula was a baddie. And the story was told out of sequence too, so I don't know. It's not the most thought through writing. It's an okay issue, but it feels like it's mostly potential rather than actual accomplishment. We got wrestling on the back. Look, there's a woman one. That's good. Very inclusive. No blacks, but it's a start, innit? So in conclusion, this is Stephen Hawkman, but I hate Stephen Hawkman's current series by Robert Van Duchy, and its terrible retcons and its attitude, and oh god, I really hate them Draculas as well. Total bastards, the lot of them. That's why I always carry around this. little jar of garlic granules. I carry it with us everywhere I go. Never know when it's going to come in handy. I recommend you all go out and get one of these. You can find them at any local supermarkets or spice racks, and you might be thinking, oh, it's a bit much to carry a jar of things around with us all the time that I'm not actually gonna use in food, but trust me, this pays for itself. I've been carrying it around for like 12 years now, and I've not had a single Dracula try to suck off my blood. Honestly, I would be completely lost without this. I recommend you all go and get one.